Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for week 179 of Build Your Stash and Craft. We are still working with what we have in our stash and maybe a few things from home. So today we are going to do coffee dyed paper again. It's been a long time since we've done that. I've had a few people say, why don't you revisit some of the older projects that we've done? And also I watched, Mix It Up Marcy, and she did a segment on coffee dyeing and it was great. She had a lot of great ideas, some things I'd never done before, some I had, but she used things I had never even tried. So really opened up my eyes and I thought you guys might have fun playing along. I will put a link to her video, so long as I remember, in the description box below. If you don't see it, let me know so I can go back and put it there. But again, that's Mix It Up Marcy here on YouTube. So what we're going to do is we're just going to use some of our different papers. I have some of our kids' scribble pad, and this is kind of like, it's a little heavier than a newsprint paper. It's almost like a creamy colored construction paper. I have some tissue paper, and I am out of my regular sketch tablet, so I grabbed some copy paper out of my copy machine. But you can also copy dye newspaper, copy dye phone book pages, regular book pages, just any kind of paper you can copy dye. So I just have some water here, probably about a cup. And then I've got the instant coffee that we got a long time ago. And so we're just going to put some of this in here until we get a nice rich color. That might be enough. And then if you find out it's not as dark as you want it, just add some more coffee. If it's too dark, put in a little bit of water. So, you can put your coffee dyed paper, or you can put your coffee in a tub, dunk your paper through it, and set it out to dry. But you can also use it to make marks on your paper, and that's what we're going to do today. So we'll start out with our regular copy paper and do a couple of the different techniques that she did. So the one thing that she did was just do a splatter. And so you can just take any kind of a brush or a toothbrush and just flick it onto your paper like this. And just get splatters all over your paper to give it a really nice look. And you can, if you don't mind it getting mushed up, you can turn it over and do the other side at the same time if you want double-sided paper. If you don't want to turn it over, you want this look to stay the way it is, leave it the way it is, and then after it's dry, go ahead and flip it over and do the same thing or something different to the other side. So some of this is going to soak through your paper anyways. I'm going to put a few more bigger drops on here over on this side. Maybe a little up there. And there we go. Just a splatter paper. And that just is going to turn out really cool. We'll set that one aside. And then the next one, and this is one I had never seen before, never thought of. Just paint the paper. And what she did was she used different household items to put marks on her paper. And some of them just turned out with really cool looks to them. So we're just going to paint the whole paper. And then just sprinkle some rice on it. And the rice sucks up the coffee in spots and makes different type looks. So we'll take this one and set it aside and let it dry. And that one, we're going to have to wait till it's dry to see what it actually turns out looking like. So then she had a couple more that she did. Now, I've used salt before. We bought some of the grindable salt. I just grabbed out my regular table salt because that's what she used. But we've used salt before with color. I've used salt with watercolors and with watered down acrylics before. never thought to do it with the coffee dyed or with the coffee. So we're just going to put salt on half of this paper, and then on the other half she also used noodles. She had some kind of little noodles. I don't know exactly what they were, so I didn't have any of those because hers kind of had a little curl to them, which was kind of cute. But I just took 2 pieces of spaghetti, broke it up into little tiny bits so that we could try it with the noodles and see how that turns out. Put this one over here. And hopefully I'm getting the paper wet enough. And set that one aside to dry. Now we'll have to wait for them to dry, and so we'll get them all done, and then I'll come back later and show you what they look like dry. So now another one that she did was string. And I'm going to just put some string on. She did hers in blocks. I just kind of wanted to do it all just kind of in some kind of a pattern. Not pattern, but, you know, just like that. And so we're going to... Now, and she had her string on the paper when she put the coffee on there. So we're going to do the same way. Now this is acrylic painted string, so I'm not sure if the color of the string is going to wind up coming off or not, but that's something else that we'll find out. I guess it really doesn't matter if you have the string on there ahead of time anyways, because it moves around and the coffee gets under it, so we'll just make sure that it's touching though. I'll paint the whole thing. So we know that little one I painted on top of the string, and this one and I do want to push that string down though. Make sure it's making contact, because if it's not making contact, it's not going to suck that coffee away from the paper and very possibly leave a design. That's what we're going for. So there we go. I may not be getting these wet enough because some of them are looking dry in spots. But this is just something that's it's just fun. You can just play with it. And I thought that I would try some little shapes from this was our shelf liner that we bought at the Dollar Tree. And so I wondered what it would look like if we put those on there and just painted through them. And those ones I do want to leave down and let the coffee go through and see what that does. We'll do it half and half. Okay, so leave that down and paint through it. And then these two, we will paint it first and then put these on top and see if that makes a difference. So we'll put that one down there, give it a press, put that one there and give it a press. Like that. Make some more room on my table. And set this one right over here. There we go. And then you have your typical coffee dyed paper of, you're sitting at your desk at work and you bump your desk and your coffee cup is full and it spills. And I'm so wrinkly under here, I'm not getting a nice flat ring, but that's okay because it's not supposed to look any particular way. If you really spilt your coffee, it just spills however it spills. So we're just gonna do that. And set that one aside. I'm running out of room. Okay, and then another fun one was to use a spoon, kind of put some little puddles on your paper. And then use a straw and blow it out. So that's kind of cool. Hers looked better than this, but it's all about the getting the idea to do it. So, and then the last one that she did was she made bubbles with her coffee and a little bit of dish soap. I'm gonna have to grab some dish soap really quick. That might be too much coffee. Just put a little dish soap in there. And mix that up. And now I have done this with acrylic paints too, and with dyed, like food coloring dyed water. Never thought to do it with coffee. Loved the look of this one. And then she just blew on it. Whoops, not on it, but in it. And maybe she didn't blow it. Maybe she stirred it really fast. I'm trying to think. I can't remember. But this is the way that I always did it with the other colors, is just blow up some bubbles and set your paper on there and let them pop. It really didn't give me too much color. So let's try, I guess I should have like made better notes. Let's try putting it in here and just kind of whisking it up to get bubbles. Because then what she did was she took the bubbles and she spooned them out onto her paper. And she said, make sure that your bubbles, you know, like you don't want them to pop. The one that she had made, it popped. Her window was open and the wind popped her bubbles. And so she had to do another one. And I'm not sure that my coffee is dark enough for this technique. But you can go over and have a check of her channel and see how hers turned out, because it was really cool. It was one of my favorite ones, and I'm probably not gonna get the same result that she did, but that's what crafting is all about, is just playing around, having fun. And if it doesn't work, I'll go back and I'll check and see how she did it so that I can try and do what she did. And when you do what others do, you know, people say, well, I don't want to copy somebody else's, you know, what somebody else is doing. It's not copying. It's using it as inspiration to do something yourself. And sometimes you make a mistake, you didn't do it the way they did it, and you come up with one of the best things you've ever done. And you didn't even know it was going to turn out that way. So there is absolutely nothing wrong with following along with other people, doing what they do, putting your twist on it. And like I said, I'm not so sure that this one's going to work out, but we're just going to leave it and we'll find out after it dries what it looks like. So I will be back after all of these dry and let you see what they look like. So see you in just a few minutes. Okay, I'm back for a quick little update. So, because my bubbles did not turn out, and that was one of my favorites, so I did have to go back and check it out. So what she did was, and I put a little bit more coffee in here because I wanted it to be a little darker. Now, one thing is, make sure you don't drip on your paper, because if your paper is wet, the bubbles don't show up very good. So I'll show you here. I did try it, and see, the bigger bubbles leave like really big spots, and if you get smaller bubbles, you get smaller spots. But here I dripped off the bottom of the cup and the bubbles just spread into it. But where I dripped, and here too, you don't see the bubbles. So you just can get the bubbles on your paper to get the bubble look. And she did use a straw to just bubble up the coffee. Oops, see, and now I got that on my paper, and then you can transfer them. She kind of used her straw to transfer some. See, and now I'm not getting them transferred very well, so you can see here what not to do. You have to go watch her. You'll have to go watch her video. Okay, let's see. We have some smaller ones in here. Another quick tip. Don't put the end of the straw in your mouth that you were blowing bubbles with inside the coffee last time, because it doesn't taste good with that soap in there. Well, and I don't like the taste of instant coffee anyways. I love coffee, but not instant coffee. Let's put some of those on there. And try not to get the water off the bottom of the cup. And the big bubbles pop really fast, but they do still leave you a great design. So go watch Marcy's channel and she'll show you how to do it well. But the one thing that I did find out is don't use your spoon, because you can't get the coffee on there, and or otherwise if it gets wet it just doesn't work. So even I just put a little bit up there with the paintbrush, but the paintbrush was wet. That probably is not going to work. And I'll just show you. This is the one that I did already. Now all the bubbles are not popped yet, but those, any place where they have popped, it's not doing anything. I just have some splotches on, which, you know, that'll be cool paper too, but I just like the looks of the bubbles, and I like all that little modelly effect. So you can see how to do it better with her, but I did want to come back and show you, because I didn't do half bad on this one when I was practicing, and except where I dripped the coffee, so make sure you don't do that. Alrighty, I'll be back to show you everything dry as soon as it's dry. Okay, I am back. And the one thing that I did do was I redid everything just the way that I showed you pretty much, except on cardstock, because I found as these were drying and I was kind of peeking, we're not really getting much of anything because on the copy paper, the coffee is completely soaking through and not leaving you the marks that you're looking for. And so I haven't taken them off, but I did kind of lift them up and peek, and there really wasn't much there. So I was thinking she used cardstock. Afterwards, I got to thinking she used mixed media paper. And she said that. So that is going to be the difference if you go watch hers, because she got much better results even than I got with the cardstock. I got better results with the cardstock, I believe, than with the copy paper, because the copy paper I don't think we're going to get much. So this is the one where we put the sheets on top, and then this I believe is the side where we put the coffee on top, and we do have a little bit of design here under the heart, little touch here. It's very hard to see, I think, but really it's kind of hard to see because there's really not much design there at all. It's so light. So that's on the copy paper. So I did exactly the same thing. I did the coffee underneath, and then I did the coffee over top of. And so on this one, on the cardstock underneath, we've got nothing. And where we put it over top, basically we just have it's not wet, but a darker spot, because the coffee did stay in that area, but still no design. So, and the reason that I'm showing you this, I could have just not done the video and I could have not showed it to you, but I wanted you to see, because if you watch her video and you think that's really cool, a lot of her results are coming from the mixed media paper. And I wanted to show you the difference even between cardstock and regular paper. So this is the regular paper where we put it on there and we use the straw to blow it. And, like I said, it just really sunk in or soaked in. And so we didn't get that great of a design. Now on the cardstock, the blowing worked pretty good. And so that is one that worked really well on the cardstock. I like the way that looks. This is the bubbles. And all the bubbles did was leave me just a blotchy spot. And I thought that was because I put it on with a spoon, but it didn't make a difference. It wasn't because of the spoon. It was just because it soaked into the paper so much that there was nothing left to design. And this is just one where I had wiped up the coffee, and then I tried putting bubbles on this one too. This was off screen because I noticed that the original one we did had it wasn't getting any marks. So then we did try that one on cardstock, and I did show you that. And those ones did turn out where I got too much coffee, the coffee soaked in, but where we got mostly just the bubbles, we did get the nice bubble look on there. So the cardstock works pretty good for that. This one is our splatter and our drips. I did not do splatter again on the cardstock, but I did do drips. This I dripped with a spoon from kind of high up because that's one of my favorite drips to do. And I just wanted to show you how those look. I love the way that those look. I do them with paint too. And then you get that little frilly edge on the edges. So this is our paper with the string. And this was where we painted it underneath. This was where we painted it over top. And basically where we painted it over top, we have a little bit of lightening. And we did get some of the green paint did soak off. Where we put it, the coffee underneath, not much, just a little bit. It's a little light spot right there and a little bit of the green, but we didn't get much there. So let's look what these look like. This is underneath, absolutely nothing. This was on top, and where we put the coffee on top of the string. And again, because we put the coffee on top of the string, it did take off a little of the color, the green color on the string. We have a few places here where the paper stayed white under the string, but mostly that was, not a very good example either. So this is our rice. And so I'm just going to kind of brush these off. And I'm going to dump this over here. And so, not really much of anything. Few lighter spots, you know, really nothing on the paper. So on the cardstock, dump this off. We did get some brown rice now. Excuse me. And this one, the paper looks a little mottled, but she got a really cool look on her mixed media paper. So, you know, they kind of look like little cells or something. So again, that's kind of a fail. Our coffee cup on regular paper, they soaked out quite a bit, but it still looks like your coffee cup spill. And on the cardstock, they didn't spread out as much. You got more of the circle, but they're pretty close to each other. Oh, and I did tea dye with the leftovers. I did a couple pieces of tissue paper. And then our noodles. And this one I did not do on cardstock because I really was running out of room. I had paper all over my kitchen, all over my dining room. I had papers everywhere, any place that was flat. So that was our noodles on this side and the salt on this side. And again, I think I see like 3 little spots here where there were noodles sitting, and that's it for the noodle side. The salt side, the salt was mostly in this area. It didn't do much. We got a mottled look here, and I'm not 100% positive if that's from the salt or if that was just the way that it got painted on the paper. It may be because of the salt, but it didn't give you the best look that you could have. So I still have a lot of really nice tea-dyed papers. I mean, look at that piece of cardstock. That is a gorgeous piece of paper. So I have pretty papers to use, but without having the mixed media paper, I didn't get the same results as she did, but still got some cool results. And just a way to show you, just go ahead and play with things, see how they turn out, see what you like, see what kind of an effect that you get, and then you just have a lot. I have a nice pile of paper here now to use for different things, and I'm happy. You know, I'm happy that I have the dyed paper. Not as happy that they didn't turn out as well as Marcy's, but again, I'll put her link below for her, and you can go and see what kind of results she got on the mixed media paper. And if you don't have mixed media, you know, you can try something else. I do have some mixed media paper. After I realized that's what she used, I didn't want to use it for this series because it is not something that we have bought for this series. We have bought the cardstock. The copy paper I used, which we didn't buy for this series, but it's, you know, it's just pretty much a regular paper. Mixed media paper is not that cheap, and you know, it's not something that if you're working on a budget that you necessarily would want unless you fall in love with one of those patterns and just have to try some. So, but I really do appreciate you stopping by. Thank you very much, and I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.